Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be going over Ultcore, another major happening this weekend alongside GOML. Now, it's not quite the caliber of GOML sitting around an A tier or an A plus tier, but still, this event is very stacked. For our top 16 seeds, you're going to have Noi, Kananabe, Tora, and Karage in 13th, Yamanakshin, Matsunabe, Sigma, and Atorie in 9th. In 7th, you're going to have Dio and Masha. 5th, you're going to have Snow and Takara. 4th, you're going to have Umeki. 3rd, you're going to have Tsubaki. 2nd, you're going to have Osimo. And then projected to win the entire thing is Mia. And the first player that I want to take a look at is going to be Tama P Daifuku, and I'm just going to call them Tama P for the rest of this. And their bracket isn't even super great because they have Mia in the winner's side of bracket, which is literally the worst person at this tournament you could have gotten, and Shiryuki in the loser side of bracket, which isn't the end of the world, but Shiryuki is obviously an amazing caliber player. And the reason that I am highlighting Tama P is because he has been on such an upswing as late. He's a very new player, and he's been getting amazing results really quickly, and he's also really the only Bayonetta player in Japan doing it like this. He's the only Bayonetta player that's ever really had success in Japan aside from Lima kind of traveling there, so he is carrying this meta, and Bayonetta is finally kind of reaching every single region of the world. This character has had such an explosive growth recently, and now Japan has finally received it, and I really think that Tama P is a special player. He is incredible at this game. I mean, all the Bayo players right now have just been out of their minds, so I'm expecting big things from this event. I hope he can perform. The next player that I want to highlight is going to be Noi, another player that's been on such a massive upswing as of late. Now, the players that they're supposed to lose to are going to be Osimo on the winner's side, who he has an 0-1 record against, and Atorie in the loser side, who he has never played before. But to be honest, if there was ever a time that someone was going to beat Osimo, it would probably be right now. He is looking a little bit shaky in his recent tournaments, but that doesn't mean necessarily that he's not going to be coming into this one strong. I'm sure he wants to correct those bad performances, but if he is still playing the way that he has been for these past couple of tournaments, I think Noi could definitely take that set. Also, the time that Noi lost to Osimo was at Kagurumi 9, where Akala lost to Osimo. Like, he was on absolute fire at that event, so I can't even give him too much flack for that. And Noi has just been, again, looking absolutely incredible as late, one of the best Pokemon trainer players in the entire world, and he also has some really nice secondary characters. Most notably, I think it's going to be the Olimar from him, and honestly, really strong character combination, but anytime someone plays Pokemon trainer, you know we got to shout them out, and the way that Noi's been playing lately, I think he has a really solid chance here, and if he likes the Wolf matchup, he has a great bracket, because he either beats Osimo and goes into Masha, or loses to Osimo and goes into Atorie. So if he's able to deal with the Wolf matchup, he's definitely going to be able to overperform his seed. Editor's note here, it was actually at Kagurabi 10 where Osimo was able to beat Noi, so I'm just bad at numbers. I would favor Osimo a little bit more than knowing that he was able to beat Noi at a tournament where he wasn't literally God incarnate, so just something to know. Also, something interesting for the Noi Atorie set, you are going to have Atorie picking up Pokemon Trainer more recently. It was his original main. He dropped it for Wolf. It seems like he's starting to go back to it slowly more as a secondary role, but this could be a potential Ditto. This could be Olimar Wolf. This could be so many different matchups. I think this could really be a counterpick war, kind of like we saw with Mudace and Ling in the grand finals of Patchwork. Maybe one player prefers the Ditto and another player does it while switching out. Again, if the set actually happens, because it is in the loser side of bracket, which is a little bit fickle, it could be incredibly hype. Next up, I want to talk about Eligo, and to be honest, this is a player that I could see being one of the front runners from Japan in just a couple months. I mean, if you look at their results, they don't have a ton of reps under the belt, but already some pretty insane placements. I mean, this losers run at Wave is absolutely incredible, as well as this more recent placement at Shinosuma Heroes last week recent, with wins on TKM, Passeriman, Yuzu, and Yamanakshin. Yamanakshin has been on the top of his game right now, so getting a win on him is very nice. I mean, Eligo, he just looked absolutely insane at that event, and if he's able to carry the momentum, I think he'll be able to get upsets on the players that he's supposed to lose to. Now, he's projected to lose to Atorie and Karage. Those are two players that have had some inconsistencies in the past, and I definitely think Eligo is caliber of player to be able to beat them. I also think it's interesting that Suinoko finally has competition for the best Young Link in Japan. It feels like for a while there, it was just kind of Suinoko, unless I'm obviously just forgetting someone, but you have a ton of Toon Links in Japan. You used to have a lot of Links in Japan, but Young Link is a character that I feel like hasn't had much success there until more recently, and there's a lot of Young Links all around the world, obviously, so again, another character that's being introduced to the Japanese meta because they already have pretty much every character, so why not add a couple more? While Eligo is not quite the best Young Link in Japan yet, I think that's a title he could definitely take in a couple months. Now, before we move on to the topic, I really quickly want to shout out a couple players. Yamanakshin, as I said earlier, has been on the top of his game recently. If he top 8 this tournament, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Matsunabe has been looking really good. Tora is a player that we saw pop up right at the start of the year at Umabor, where they were in contention for the best Samus in the world. The results haven't been as great since then, but if they're able to channel that Umabor power, I could definitely see Tora having a run here. Aka as well, he's a player that just randomly pops off super hard. Such a scary player in bracket as well. I mean, Hero's just kind of a scary character in bracket, but the way Aka does it, it makes it like 30 times worse. And the final one that I want to mention is going to be Senra, because he beat Aqua with Jigglypuff. Like, that's something that you just have to bring up literally every time he's in a tournament, because I don't know how he did that. So yeah, we're going to be moving on to the top 8 now. If there's any players that I left out, please just let me know down below, but let's move on. And here we are, the top 8. And this is the last major of the ranking this season. This is a very important tournament for a lot of players. And the players that I think it's going to affect the most here are going to be Dio and Snow, in the sense that they are fighting for their title of best character in Japan. You have Dio fighting it out with Hurt for the best Snake in Japan, and you have Snow fighting it out with Now for the best Mario in Japan. Now, Dio, I would say that his title is a little bit more secure. I'd probably even favor him over Hurt over the entire season. I think Hurt's been looking better these last couple months, but if Dio's able to top 8 this event, then I'll just eat my words. So if Dio performs here, he could definitely secure that title of best Snake, but if he underperforms, he could also lose it, so that's a bit scary. And for Snow, Snow's got nothing to lose. He has to earn that title. He hasn't been able to top 8 a major yet. I think I would be very surprised if Snow didn't top 8 this major, to be honest. And once he does top 8 this major, I think that's going to be a massive boundary break. I feel like once players get their first taste of being in the top 8, it's a lot of pressure gone. You've finally done it, and you can do it again and again and again. It gets easier to repeat it. And Snow, again, has undeniably been looking like the better Mario in these past couple months. Now definitely has him at the start of the season, though, but if Snow's able to perform here like a top 4 of this event, I could definitely see him taking that title of best Mario in Japan. Also, I just want to shout out to Kara and Masha here, because I feel like these are two of the most underrated players in the entire world. And I feel like a lot of people just straight up don't know about Masha. I would say that Masha is a top 3 wolf right now. I'd say Jackal's number 1, and then Ouch and Masha are honestly tied. They have similar highs, both 9th place at Super Majors. Masha's best run is going to be his 9th place at Kagalibi, which was absolutely insane, as well as being able to top 8 Japan 24 right at the start of the season. So he kind of disappeared halfway through the season, didn't have a ton of results then, but if Masha's a player that starts competing a ton, I could definitely see him being ranked top 30. Like, he is actually ridiculously good at this game, and Takara is a player that I could see being ranked top 30 very soon. He is by far the best Ken in the world. He's actually insane. He solo mains Ken as well. Most Ken players are going to be using a little bit of Ryu, maybe some Terry, maybe some Kazuya, but Takara, he is all Ken, and it works great for him. He is such an insane player. I feel like he kind of gets overshadowed by Asuma, because like, oh, Shadow player from Japan, it's going to be Asuma. But Takara is an unreal talent. Again, these are 2 players that I would expect to see in the top 8, and I'd honestly be shocked if they weren't in there. And we have our final 3 players before the final boss, and that's going to be Tsubaki, Umeki, and Asimo. Now, for Umeki and Tsubaki, they're coming into this event with a lot of momentum. You have Umeki with his win at Shinosuma Heroes, and you have Tsubaki with not only his 3rd place at Sumigeki 14, but also his win at Tamasuma Kaioken, where he 6-0'd Shuton. Like, he destroyed Shuton. I've never seen anyone else in the world be able to do that. It was actually insane. Asimo, on the other hand, he hasn't been doing as great as of late. He does have this incredible losers run at Sumigeki, but it still does net him a 13th place. Kind of unlucky that he runs into Mia in the lower side, and it's the same thing for Sumabato as well. Has a nice losers run, but it ends a little bit earlier on. Even before that, though, he has a 5th place at Beisuma. He's still clearly playing decently enough, but he has a couple inconsistencies in his career that I think he needs to fix for this event if he wants to keep his top 20 ranking that I have him in right now. Personally, I think Asimo is a crazy player. Kind of an underrated player as well. And towards the end of the season, his results haven't been as good, but I definitely know that he can pick it up. He can still get these top 8s. He can still get these top 3s. He can still win these events as well. Asimo's a player that has never won a major, so this could be his first major win, but unfortunately, he's got to get through the final boss first. And we have our final player of the event, the final boss of the event, and that is going to be Mia. And the reason for that is you're probably going to have to beat Mia at least once to win this event. Even if he loses round 1 in pools, he'll probably still make the losers run back to grand finals. And his record against the people in the top 8, or people that are seeded to get top 8, is incredible. 11-0 versus Asimo, 5-0 versus Umeki, 4-1 versus Snow, 2-0 versus Takara. Now, there are a couple people in here that are going to have winning records versus him. Dio and Masha are going to only have played him once, though, so I don't really know how I feel about that, especially for Dio, because that matchup is so bad, and for Masha, the last time they played was 11 months ago, so even though they have the record, I would still favor Mia, and I would favor Mia as well over Tsubaki. He did win their last encounter, but if someone were to take this event over Mia, I would guess it's Tsubaki. If I had to place my odds in this event on how it's going to go down, I would give Mia like an 80% chance to win, Tsubaki a 10% chance to win, and a 10% chance to literally everyone else at this tournament. That's how confident I am that Mia is going to take this thing, or that Tsubaki is absolutely going to pop off and roll. Mia has just been looking incredible as like one of the best players in the world. He's been looking like he's top 3 in the world recently, and if he wins this event, he could be ranked top 3 in the ranking season. Like, that's definitely a possibility that he gets ranked over Tweak, because he has so many wins under his belt. So depending on how Mia does here, it could affect his season, and by that I mean place him up by 1, but hey, it's a pretty big deal. 4th to 3rd is a big difference. And I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Again, if there is any part that I left out at any point in this video, please just let me know down below. The sport has been absolutely unreal lately. Thank you guys for everything. Be sure to sub and all that yada yada. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.